It's another snowy day here in Buffalo. Today's project is going to be taking place, however, in my nice, snug, and cozy warm kitchen. Thanks for stopping by, and welcome to the Lake Effect Garden. Hi everyone, I'm in my kitchen because we got snow last night. Now, most of the snow, I'm looking out the kitchen window right now, which is directly behind you. We had that big snowfall around Christmas and it was cold, it was a heavy snow, so we had a bit of an ice pack. It took a long time to melt and it almost completely melted, but as Buffalo goes, we got another inch or so last night. Luckily, with the amount of melt that we had, I was able to get out into the garden and do a few things. I needed to do some cleanup, and I also had a very surprised harvest of carrots, which I was completely stoked about. I've never harvested anything in January before. So I got some of the beds cleaned up. I was really hoping to get some video of like showing you how everything looks right now, but it's all covered in snow again, so you're not gonna be able to see it. Maybe for a February tour, we'll see. You know, the cycle is interesting here with the snow because we'll get a snowfall and then it will melt, and then we'll get a snowfall and then it will melt. Back when I was a kid, it was like a snowfall, and then a snowfall, and then a snowfall, and then, you know, we'd have this big pack of snow and it wouldn't go away until April. So I'm happy that we have this snow/melt cycle that happens, and it gives me more opportunity to do things out in the yard. Anyways, I'm blustering. So today's all about seeds. And before I show you exactly what I do with seeds, really, really important that if you haven't been a gardener before, or you've only done a couple of little things, and I don't know if this is the teacher in me or whatever, but I have what I call my garden plan book. And plan booking, you know, having a plan book in school is really, really important to keep track of everything and to, you know, obviously plan ahead and you know, when it comes to curriculum and what you're going to teach, etc., etc. And this book I treat the same way. And what I love about this particular model of book is that it has over on the top here the month and the day. So whenever I want to journal anything, depending on, you know, where it is on the page, I will circle the month and I will circle the day. I know, I mean, any person could just write January the 4th, you know, and be done with it, but I just thought that was really kind of neat. Keep a plan book. Not only is it a great reference tool for, you know, looking back into, but it's also a great way to look forward. So this is like my Bible. All right. Another thing that I got, which I thought was really neat and something that I never had before, which kind of goes along with the idea of the plan book, and this was a gift from my mom and dad, is a calendar, a shed calendar. I've never kept a shed calendar before, and I really like this one. It's the Old Farmer's Almanac, so it really is a gardening calendar. And I've got some pretty nice artwork on here, and it talks about the phases of the moon that are happening, and talks about the different holidays, etc., etc. So this is lovely. Thanks, Mom and Dad. This is going to look adorable in my shed. A couple more things before we jump into the big tin is my paper whites. Look at them. They've gotten so big. Up here, this is going to be flowers. Okay, there they are. They're starting to get all fat. They're going to open up pretty soon, and it's going to smell absolutely glorious in here. I cannot wait. So those will be happening soon. When those are probably spent, as I said in my last video, I always force hyacinths. okay? Because the smell is intoxicating. It is the smell of spring for me. So I bought myself 5 bulbs for hyacinths, and this is a deep royal blue variety that's called Peter Stuyvesant. So I'll be looking forward to these putting on a beautiful show at some point. Okay, so the seed tin. This is where I keep all of my veg seed. Now I've got tins for veg. I've got another contraption for my herbs/herbs. And then I have another tin for my flowers, but we're just gonna look at veg seed today. And I got this tin off of Vivi's shop, and it's perfect, it's massive, which is great. Now, how I keep my seeds in order, I basically use these little envelopes. And I label them depending on the variety. So this is greens. So this will be like your kale and your Mizuna and your Swiss chard and things like that. And then on the back, I label everything that I buy for that year. Okay, so for example, in 2020, I purchased the Mizuna, etc., etc. And then I got my new seed shipment in and I labeled it as 2021. And this way I can keep track of what seeds need to be used first. So I've split up, I just totally dumped seeds everywhere. And I'm not sure, you know, all these green seeds look the same. Anyways, oh well, I'll throw them in the soil, see what happens. I've got brassicas. I've got winter squash. I actually have 2 envelopes for winter squash because I have so many and they don't fit in these little envelopes. Summer squash, legumes, etc., etc. So it's a great way to keep everything organized. Just make sure that you close those seed packets before you put them in there. Otherwise, you're gonna have a mess to clean up, like I will right now. All right, so we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna jump right into these seeds. I'm gonna show you what my garden looked like last year, and I'm gonna show you what my garden's hopefully gonna look like this year in design, and I will break down what I'll be growing in each bed. So here we go. So this is an overview of what my garden was like last year. As you can see at the top here, it says Garden 2020, and then there's a yucky face right next to it because we know that, you know, a lot of things really didn't go well. I hope the camera picks up everything, but this is basically an overview of the garden as it was last year. As you can see down here, I've also blown up a picture of what was my polytunnel, hence the skull and crossbones, because it did die a very painful death. So just to give you an idea, because I know it's really hard to kind of tell. I don't have a drone or anything like that, so it's really hard for me to show you exactly what it looks like from overhead, but usually I would start my filming over here from the garage door and the greenhouse, and I had, you know, the bush beans and the squash, and this is the little obelisk that I grow the morning glories on, and then we've got the summer squash, tomato pepper bed. This was the raised bed that I created, that little oval. The 12 by 12 bed, the corn bed. Okay, as we move over, I had the cucumber bed was over here, and the tomato bed was across from that. And then over here was the brassica bed, compost pile right behind it, and then this is actually where the polytunnel was. Okay, so you can also imagine through here, this is where my shed is, this is where the little blue barn is. Okay, just to give you the overview. Now, I've taken it upon myself to change things up. Garden 2021 with a big old smiley face. Okay, so going back to where we started by the garage, you can see that I've changed a couple things up, and what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna pan through here for you to get a look at how it might be a little bit different this year. But I actually made smaller blown up pages, I guess you would say, of each of the sections of the garden so that we could go over everything. And I can show you exactly what I will be growing in these beds, detailed. This time I was happy about Garden 2021, so I added the shed and the little blue barn and a smiley face. Okay, so let's take a look at each individual section of the garden. So I'm going to start with the top two sun-loving beds next to the greenhouse. So these two right here. And going from left to right, in the beds themselves, I'm going to be planting this Landreth bush bean, which I've never grown before. But Landreths used to be, and I know that they were bought out, but they were the oldest seed company in America, dating back to like the 1780s or something like that. So I was intrigued. So it's a bush bean. It's supposed to be very stringless and tasty, so we're gonna give that a go. And then my usual the Blue Lake bush bean. So those will go half and half inside of that bed. Now I've got the three trellises, or the two trellises I should say. I've got the box spring trellis, and then I've got the kind of homemade one. Well, they're all homemade, I guess, aren't they? So growing up the side of the bed along the greenhouse, on the box spring side, I'm going to be growing delicata, winter squash, okay? And then going up along the back, I'm trying something new here, and this is a winter squash called Sweet Meat. So I'm staying on the smaller side with these climbing squash only because I don't want them to be overwhelmed by the weight of their own fruit. I mean, if they end up growing really, really big, I'll take precautionary measures and do what I need to do. But then over here growing up, so I'm splitting this in half. Over here, I'm going to be growing this cornucopia gourd mix, and this will be nice for, you know, decoration and stuff come the autumn. But I don't want to think about autumn right here. I've got spring on the brain like you wouldn't believe. I also have on here birdhouse gourd. I haven't gotten my seeds for that yet. They are en route. Now, in the middle here, I've got, this is my plan to do these cattle panels, okay, to create this trellis. And I'm going to have 4 different varieties of cucumbers growing up, and I'm going to do 2 on one side in this bed and then 2 on this side, and then train them up on either side. So what I don't have listed here at the very top where it says cucumbers, there is a 4th variety, and I'm still kind of mulling over which ones I want to use. But I've got this cucumber long green improved that I had started in the polytunnel. I didn't get anything out of it, but it was kind of late in the season when I did it. And then, of course, I got this. I don't know where I got this, actually. I think my mother got these for me. But it says, Mideast Prolific Cucumber. So I might just give that a go. We'll see. Of course, we'll be doing the Delicatesse. Probably saying that really, really wrong. Okay. So I'll be growing that one. And then the Diva, which I also did in the tunnel. And I actually did get a couple of cucumbers off, and they were small and delicious. And then the last one is a variety that I grew a couple years ago. And when I say prolific, that's like a severe understatement, because this cucumber just delivered. It delivered. It was insane. And I'm not one for growing F1 hybrids, but I found them online, and so I couldn't resist. So I'm going to do the Dasher F1s right in the front. Moving over here to this bed. This is going to be a squash bed again. Now, I know I might be shooting myself in the foot because, as you remember, this was the bed that did miserably. But I'm really thinking that if I do what I need to do with the soil, we will be good. So in this bed, we'll be doing, let's see, let me get it out. We're going to do the yellow crookneck, summer squash. And then I also have the straight neck, which is just the straight version of the crookneck. All right, and then on this side, I'm doing 2 different varieties of zucchini or courgette, which I've never done before. These 2, I've always done, you know, Black Beauty, stuff like that. I'm going to be going for this Cocoselle. I liked the name of it. And then I'm going to be doing this Cash Flow. And again, this is a hybrid, not usually what I do, but as long as I can have one heirloom, I can perhaps keep the seed from it. We'll see. I'm looking for bounty this year. I really am. Growing up the trellis behind this bed, we're going to be doing the sweet dumpling, winter squash. Okay, and then right next to it, the Burgess buttercup. Now, I have one complaint about My Gardener, and this is the only complaint because I really think they're an amazing organization. But what they don't tell you is, on the back, they don't tell you if this is a bush variety or a vining variety. Now, I know just from past experience that this is a vining variety because I have grown this up a trellis before. But I don't know. I think for the unexperienced gardeners, and there may be a lot this year who are starting out, they should really have some kind of, I know it's a Google search away, but they should really have some kind of a clue as to whether they can grow it up a trellis or it's just going to stay as a big bush. Okay, I'm going to move you down now, and we're going to be doing the bottom two. This is really crooked. All right. So I'm just going to go from left to right. So over here, I've got leeks. I'm going to be doing leeks in kind of that little extension that I have there on the side by the door. And I'm going to be doing the American flag leek. This is new to the garden as well. I've never started leeks from seed before. This is a whole new venture, which I'm really excited about. And then I will be doing 2 rows of onions, but I think I might be doing 3 rows of onions. I'm not sure yet. But the onions that I did purchase, I purchased from seed, and I'm going to be doing them from seed this year. So the first one we got is Southport Red Globe. Okay, these are long day onions, all of them. They're really, really good for storage. So I'm going to be doing that for my reds. And then I'm going to be doing for my yellows, Walla Walla. Gotta love it. And oops, Elsa Craig Exhibition. So I'm going to be starting these seeds very, very soon. That's another reason why I decided to go for seed. So I just need to get my hands in some soil. All right, moving along, I've got a row of rutabaga, and we're going to be doing the American purple top like I did last year in my brassica bed. Okay, I have a row of chard, and this is a new chard to me. This is rhubarb. Swiss chard. And I have to say, I am not a fan of actual rhubarb, and I know my British viewers are going to think that I'm sacrilegious, but just not a fan. I've tried it a million times. I've tried it in many different ways. Not a fan. But I think I'm going to like this rhubarb Swiss chard. Now, if this could only come back every single year, like regular rhubarb. Moving along, I'm going to do a row of beets, and this is my go-to Detroit Dark Red. Okay, Detroit. Showing solidarity for my sister Rust Belt city. And then I've just got this kind of area here that's very general, and there's not going to be any rhyme or reason to it, but I do have white patty pan, yellow patty pan, and green patty pan. So that's what I'll be doing for that bed. There we go. Moving along. This was the tomato / pepper bed last year. Oh, I also, by the way, have like calendula on the border and stuff like that. I'm going to do a lot of border planting. I want to do a lot of interplanting to really bring the pollinators into the garden. Anyways, I digress. So this was the tomato pepper bed. And at the top, I've got this row of cannellini beans. And I have to say, as it goes for a dry bean in my cooking, this is something that I use a lot when I make beans and greens, soups, chilies, and stuff like that. Cannellini beans. So I'm going to give this a go. This is a bush variety. And then I'm going to plant my potatoes here. I've got 3 different varieties. I am putting them in the ground. I am not going to put them in bags this year, as you remember my success story, or not success story. Now, my seed potatoes have not come in yet, but I've made some copies of what I'm going to be getting. So all the way here on the left, I'm going to be doing Yukon Gold. Look at that. Okay. So it's an early season yellow. It's great for grilling and roasting and baking and everything. I use Yukon Gold for all of my mashed potatoes and things like that. The one in the middle is going to be the variety Kennebec. Okay, that's a late season potato. All right. It has the same attributes as the Yukon Gold, only it's just a later variety. And then the last one that I'm going to be doing is similar to the Yukon Gold, and that is, where are you? There you are. Keuka Gold. So it's a mid to late season. So I've got my earlies, my mid-season, and I've got my late season. Oh, I did that on purpose, just so that I can continue cropping. And then once the Yukons come out, I can plant something there. Once the Keukas come out, I can plant something there. And then the Kennebec will ride it to the end of the season. Okay, so that's this section. We're gonna move on to the area with the 12 by 12 bed, tomato bed, etc. Okay, now we've moved on to the next 4 beds in the garden, and this is the 12 by 12 bed. This is what used to be the cucumber bed. This is, I should probably move it down, what used to be the tomato bed. And then over here, what used to be the sweet corn bed. So once again, I'm gonna start at the top here, the top left. So this is going to be tomatoes and basil. And I've got 2 varieties of basil that I grow. It's the Italian flatleaf and the Genovese. So those will be going in with there. The varieties that I'll be growing will be much smaller than last year. I'm going to stick to the ones that I absolutely thought did a great job. From the left, of course, will be my favorite. Oh, you can't see that. Sweetie. Yep, that's my standby and munch. Okay, then next in line, I will be doing the Homestead, which were delicious and prolific. And next to that, I will be doing the beefsteak. This will be my Big Mamacita sandwich ones. And you can't beat a beefsteak really for that. A new variety that I'm going to be growing this year is called Delicious. I hope it lives up to its name. And then the last variety that I'm going to be growing is the Costelluto Genovese, and that came out really, really well last year as well. So I did put a little bit of room here for another variety, but I don't think it's going to be able to fit, honestly. I think I'd be packing it in too tight, and I want to have some, good airflow and stuff like that. So probably not going to be doing that. I do have several other varieties. I may want to grow them in the tunnel, but that's going to be another video. So anyways, so I'm going to once again do cattle panel trellis over here, and I'll be growing a different variety of cucumber. Okay, so up this side, the tomato side of the trellis, I'll be growing hopefully homemade pickles and national pickling. I want to do some pickles. I want to do some preserving this year. So these are apparently really, really great. Now on the other side, growing up the other side, I'm going to be trying my hand at these French horticultural beans. And it's a semi-runner bean. Maybe I got a picture of it. I'll put it in the film right now. Coming back, I'm going to be doing blocks of sweet peppers, and I have a couple of varieties here. My father gave me this Slavana hybrid, which I might give a try too. Then I have King of the North, and if you saw the snow that we got last night, yep, you'd say we're in the north. And then finally this YOLO Wonder. It's very interesting. I'm sure this is just the pepper transitioning from green into red, but apparently it's quite prolific, so I'm going to give those a go. Moving right along, over here, the next row is going to be eggplant. And again, I have another package of seeds that my father gave to me, Midnight Moon, and it's a hybrid. So it says it ripens earlier than Black Beauty, which is the other variety that I grow. So if I could do half of the hybrid and half of the Black Beauty, I will get a succession crop. That's the hope, at least. Then I have a row of broad beans, and we call them fava beans here. The variety is called Vroma. Never had them before, thought I'd give them a go. And last will be peas, and I will be using the cucumber trellising, original cucumber trellising that was here, to grow my peas up on. And I've got 2 varieties. I've got Alderman, and this is the variety that I grow every year, and this is a shelling pea, okay? And then I'm going to be trying my hand at sugar snap peas, okay? And this is a Mange 2 variety. So I'll be interested. I do love sugar snap peas. It's a snow pea, so we'll see how it goes. These are great in salads and stir fries. All right, moving down. The tomato bed. Now, the tomato bed is in a perfect rectangle. Actually, in reality, there's a small chunk out here taken out that I have herbs and some flowers and stuff like that. So we'll just pretend that this little chunk is not part of it. So moving from left to right, I'm going to be doing 3 different varieties of Swiss chard. And these are the varieties I grew last year. Lucillus, Magenta Sunset, and Ruby Red. Okay. From there, I'm going to do another row of beets. That's going to be my Detroit Dark Red again. Only variety I buy. I'll switch it up someday. Carrots. If anyone saw my Facebook posting and my Instagram, they saw that I harvested a very large tote of small carrots. I'm going to talk about why I think they turned out small at another video, but I have a pretty good idea why they're so skimpy and so tiddly. Anyways, I'm going to regrow the same varieties, the Danvers 126 and Scarlet Nance. And for flavor, they are really, really, really good. And although they did not amount to anything, I grew baby carrots this year. Although they didn't amount to anything, the taste is still outstanding. And they've been kissed by the frost, so you know what that means. Okay, the next part we've got is a broccoli, and I'm going to be doing a early green. Okay. And then I'm going to be doing the purple sprouting. So I'll split that row up in half and do those 2. Cauliflower is next. I'll be splitting that as well. So we will be doing the snowball and self-blanching. Lots of variety. I love variety. Okay, now I've got 2 rows of cabbage. It may not be 2, it may be 3. It depends how I'm feeling, and I've got so many different varieties that I want to try. I totally skipped over kale, by the way. So sorry. For kale, I'll be doing Nero di Toscana. Everyone knows about that one. Wonderful, delicious. Okay, back to cabbage. So I've got the early Jersey Wakefield cabbage, which didn't come to anything in the tunnel. I think it was just, I don't know what happened. Anyways, cabbage, Excalibur. We'll see if that works. Danish ballhead. I mean, I planted these seeds and they all sprouted. But I honestly just think it was my pure neglect that they didn't make it. So there we have it. And then I'm trying this new for this year, and that's the Savoy cabbage. And I really love Savoy cabbage. I buy that a lot. So I thought I'd give it a grow. Give it a grow! Oh my gosh! Should I coin that phrase? Give it a grow. All right, last but not least, I need more tea in my life right now. Okay, this was the corn bed. I'm going to be doing various lettuce and spinach. I'm not going to walk you through all the different varieties, but as I'm planting them, you guys will see the varieties. So make sure you tune in. New is going to be this little section here that's going to be dedicated to hot peppers. Now, I had peppers in my tomato pepper bed, which is now going to be my potato bed, but I only grew 1 variety, and that was the Thai Dragon. And I like hot peppers, I like hot food, so I thought I would try, and the only reason why they're that variety, mind you, is because I don't start pepper seeds. I always go out and buy them. I'm going to start them this year, so I did buy some varieties, and this is what I'm going to be growing. Cayenne Long Slim, which is a hot pepper. Then there's, I love this color. I love this color. It's called Pasilla Bajío, I guess. Then we have Serrano Tampiqueño. And then I had to, I don't know how this is going to taste, but whatever. Big Jim! Perfect. Okay. One more bed to show you guys. Finally, this is what was the brassica bed. So I had several rows of brassicas. This was actually the original bed right here. Okay. And then over here I had my pumpkins growing. So I'm going to be playing off the same footprint, but I know I said I probably wouldn't be making any infrastructure changes, but I will be making slight modifications. We'll just say that. Now, over here is the compost pile and the polytunnel. Here is over on, well, you're probably not even seeing my hand. Anyways, over here is where the compost pile is, okay? And behind that is the tunnel, okay? So along this very long row here, okay, I'm going to be growing my pole beans, my runner beans, okay? And I just happened to get my hands on, which is not easy to do here in America, Gigantes. Or, although, you know, I'm a stickler for pronunciations, and I looked at it online, and it looked like they pronounced the G like they would for the word gyro, you know, like the food, gyro. So it looked like it was Gigantes or something like that. I don't know. Never mind. Gigantes it is. All right, and then along the next part, I'll be doing Kentucky Wonder, which I used to do. I just haven't gotten around to having the space for them. So I will have it this year. I will grow them. And then last will be my go-to, which is Blue Lake. And actually, these are the ones that I harvested off of my vines this year. So they're going to have a big backdrop of beans. All right. In the pumpkin bed, which is all the way towards the back of the yard, I'm going to be growing 2 varieties this year. The first variety will be my go-to Rouge Vif du Temps, Cinderella pumpkin. And then I had this other packet of seed that my father gave to me, or my mother, I can't remember who. This variety called Howden, which is a field pumpkin, great for jack-o'-lanterns. So I had the seed, why not? All right, moving into the brassica bed, I'm going to be having, I call it the brassica bed, you know, that's what it used to be. I have over here the area, the furthest towards the compost pile, I should say, is where I'm going to be growing my sweet corn in a huge block. Okay, so I said I might do a Three Sisters bed, and it's kind of a modified version. They won't really be growing within each other, but they will be growing close by. So I will fill this square up with sweet corn, and that way the pole beans aren't competing for the light. They'll be growing, the pole beans will grow faster than the sweet corn. In front of that, I'm going to be growing blue and golden Hubbard squash. Okay, and I just love the way they look. I can't wait to taste them if they come to anything. And then towards the bottom here, I'm going to be growing a huge bed of sunflowers. And I have all the seed for that, but again, another video. All right, coming back over here, this is where I'm going to be extending, okay, an 8-foot extension to the brassica bed. You can see where my Cortland apple tree is over here. This is usually just grass. I'm going to probably mulch this, but this is going to be a small raised bed so that I can plant in. And then the idea is that hopefully the squash will fill in this little mulched area here. So I'll be growing the Waltham butternut squash. That will grow inwards. And then I've got 2 bush varieties, and please tell me if they are not bush varieties. I've done my research and they say that they are, but if not, I'm going to have an absolute mess. The first is the red curry, or the Uchiki curry, which the only reason why I'm growing this is so many of my British YouTube friends grow it, and I'm intrigued. So there we have it. I'm going to do it that way. Then we have Table King. This is an acorn squash, also a bush variety. Thank goodness they put bush. All right. And then last, and I'm going to be doing the same thing with this, is I'm going to be growing spaghetti squash. So here's my Honeycrisp apple tree. I'm going to create a mulched bed here so that the spaghetti squash can trail. And that's what we're looking at. So this is going to be mainly a winter squash bed with some corn and some beans thrown in there. So I really, really hope that it gets enough sunlight. I'm pretty sure it will. I can't wait to see everything just filled up and gorgeous. All the plans that I have going through my head right now, so exciting. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I have a really good feeling about this year, growing wise, at least. So things that I'm going to be starting from seed pretty soon will be all of my alliums. So my leeks and my onions, they need to be started pretty soon. I'm also going to be starting my peppers and my eggplant or aubergine, because I know all of those need an earlier start. So I'm thinking maybe February will be pretty good. Our last frost date here in Western New York isn't until mid-May. I'm in zone 6A, so it's a little earlier than even 25 miles away from the lake, which is nice, but I just want to make sure that I get the timing correct. And with that, I have to get the polytunnel up and running as well, because before I even start planting into that, it's going to be my storage area for all my seedlings. I'll use my greenhouse also, but you know, I need the space because, like I said, I'm not growing seedlings indoors for an extended period of time. I will start them if they need to be started in here, but for the most part, I've got to get everything outside. So I have lots and lots of content building up. I've made a list. I'm really excited. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye for another week or another 2 weeks, depending on, you know, things. I think the next one will definitely be a seed sowing video. I was hopeful that we'll have a bit of a thaw so I can give you a February tour and show you what's up. And yeah, so that's about it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. And if you're new to the channel, if you wouldn't mind, please subscribing. I was looking at my analytics and it said that more than 50% of the people who view my videos are viewing them through Facebook, but they are not subscribers. So if you guys wouldn't mind subscribing to my channel and press the notification bell and all of that happy stuff, you will, sometimes I don't necessarily get the things posted on Facebook and Instagram as soon as I can. You guys can get these nice and fresh. So subscribe, all that happy stuff. And I will be seeing you guys very, very soon. Stay warm. You guys, I don't know if you noticed, I got my thermals on. I got my long johns on. It's a chilly one. Stay warm and just keep dreaming about the spring that's going to be right around the corner very, very soon. We'll be all muddied from head to foot once again and loving life. So take care. I'll see you very, very soon.